Hello, I am Mr. Kim, and today I'll be talking about industry and growth in the cities of Europe during the time period of 1840 to 1900. Let me tell you where we're headed. Three major themes that I drew from this reading. Number one, impact of rapidly growing cities. Number two, new technologies transform city formation, how cities are built and where. And number three, dealing with sanitation issues and beautification projects. So let's get started. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Here we go. 2, 1. All right, now we can officially start. We're going to start with the numbers. And as you can see, I've numbered each slide to help you identify which question it goes with. So, rapidly growing cities by the numbers. One example, England and Wales. We can look at the number of people living in cities of 20,000 or more. In 1801, it was 1.5 million people. That's 70% of the total population. 50 years later, by 1851, it's 6.3 million. That's now 35% of the total population and 4.8 million people more. And by 1891, it's a whopping 15.6 million. All this meaning people are moving to cities. And the growth of cities is exponential. It's skyrocketing towards the middle part of the 19th century. So what's the impact as all these people are moving to cities? Biggest impact, they're overcrowded because businesses had to build housing for the workers. Their goal was to get as many workers as they could into a small house, sometimes as many as 10 people per room. And we get the rise of what are called tenements, or you might have heard the projects, often referred to today as the ghetto. Although that comes from a Jewish term for ghettos, for other things in history, don't worry about it. Tenements, poor housing, rose up in major cities next to factories. Why? Because housing was needed to be near the factories because people had to walk to work. Remember, there's no public transportation yet. That means people live near all the pollution. Ew! This is true. Another problem with the impact of rapidly growing cities is death and disease, but somehow, as I'll explain, the growth of the cities continued. So cities were places of disease, as we've talked about in lecture and at other points, and many die every year. However, more people are migrating, thousands, to cities than dying, thus the population continued to grow. So because more people are coming in than going out, population continues to grow. More impact. Why come to the city if it's gross and dirty? Well, people need jobs. The growth of factories and manufacturing equals job opportunities, and at the same time, big business has driven out the small business types in agriculture and textiles. The old cottage industry system, where textiles were made at home, virtually is non-existent because of the Industrial Revolution. Steam engine changes everything because factories no longer have to be built next to a water source. In the early time of factories, power and energy only came from water mills, and that had to be your source of energy. Now, with the steam engine, cities could be built farther from a water source. But people still need water to drink, so remember, you're going to be somewhere around a water source. Deal with sanitation issues. Sanitation issues. Open drains and sewers float in the streets with human and animal waste. Disgusting. As one scholar put it, millions of English men, women, and children were living in shite. There were no parks or houses with yards except in the very wealthiest neighborhoods. Housing was created as a means to pack people in, not for quality living. Parks are not a thing. People literally don't have yards. Where's our park? I'm sorry, it's coming later. So who's responsible for all this? Well, there's a human role. Many people are ignorant. They don't understand the importance of sanitation, so they drag sewage and waste from outside after work into their house from their shoes. They rarely bathe and rarely wash their clothes, so they are responsible themselves, but out of ignorance. That's not good for anybody, dragging mud into the house. Who else is responsible? Well, the government has to be somewhat responsible. At this time, government was different. The government becomes more responsible towards the 20th century to its people, but the government just couldn't respond quickly enough to the changes in England and over in continental Europe. Public transportation doesn't exist. That eventually solves so many of the problems because then people can live in different areas farther away from the factories and not be cramped so close together. Say it ain't slow. I'm sorry, young turtle. It was slow. But change is a-coming. So, dirty cities, filth in the streets. My goodness. Public transportation is coming, but during the mid-19th century, it's not here yet. Parks aren't here yet. All these things come as a response to the Industrial Revolution. This is unbelievable. All right, that is all. This is the Works Cited page, and thank you very much. Peace.